All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're breaking down a system designed to build trading discipline, but not by adding more noise, not by giving you more indicators. No, this is all about adding clarity. So if you feel like you're stuck just repeating the same darn mistakes over and over again, then this one's for you. And this right here, this is the core idea in a nutshell. Most of us think the answer to our trading problems is more information. We need to watch another video, find another strategy, but this system says, nope. The real solution is measurement. It's about looking inward at your own process, not outward for some kind of magic bullet.
Okay, before we dive deep, you know the drill. We've got to do our standard disclaimer. Everything we're talking about here is just for educational purposes. It is absolutely not financial advice. Trading digital assets is risky, so please, you've got to do your own research.
So let's kick things off with the problem itself, what we're calling the trader's information trap. And you probably know this feeling. It's that endless cycle of just consuming content, more videos, more articles, more opinions on Twitter. But your actual execution, your results, they never really improve.
This slide just lays it out perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the old way, the trap. It's all about seeking more stuff to clutter your charts and your mind. It's just a one-way ticket to analysis paralysis. But the new way, the system we're explaining today, it's so much simpler, and because of that, it's way more powerful. Measurement, clarity, and review.
So, what's the solution? Well, it's brilliantly simple. A 10-minute trade journal. Now, hold on, I know what you're thinking. Journaling takes forever. But the whole goal here isn't to create some massive, time-sucking log. It's to build a small, sustainable habit that delivers huge insights. And that number is everything. 10 minutes. That is your entire daily commitment. Let that sink in for a second. The biggest reason journals fail is because they become a second job, right? They're way too complex. This system, though, it's built from the ground up to be something you can actually stick with.
And when you break it down, it's even more manageable than it sounds. Look at this. Just 2 or 3 minutes before a trade to get clear, maybe 3 to 5 minutes after to log the truth, and then just 15 minutes once a week to connect all the dots. It's such a small investment for what could be a massive return in your performance.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is the pre-trade checklist. These 5 fields, they're more than just a plan. They're like psychological armor. Setup and entry plan force you to be logical. Now, in validation, this one's huge. It's where you pre-commit to being wrong, which totally diffuses your ego when things get crazy. Position size takes your mood out of the risk equation. And the exit plan, it means you know the end game for both a win and a loss before you even click the button. And, the source material just lays it out there. No punches pulled. If you can't fill out these 5 simple fields, you don't really have a professional edge. You're just gambling. This little checklist is literally your first line of defense against making impulsive, stupid decisions. Okay, so the trade's done. Now comes what we call the post-trade truth. These 6 fields are all about objective self-assessment. Logging the result neutrally, that detaches your emotions from the outcome. Plan followed? It's the ultimate accountability check, just a simple yes or no. Execution quality makes you focus on what you can actually control. Biggest mistake, and this is key, you only pick one. That stops you from getting overwhelmed. Then the one-line lesson turns that mistake into a future rule. And finally, the emotion tag. This builds the self-awareness you need to spot when you're about to go off the rails. So you've collected all this data. Now what? Well, this is where the system really starts to pay off. We're going to move from just logging trades to actually finding your unique, fixable patterns of behavior. And here's the aha moment. A journal isn't a diary. It's your own personal database. All its power comes from your ability to search it, to filter it, to find the patterns. And the key to making it searchable is tagging. This table gives you some great examples. See, you're not writing long essays here. You're just applying simple, consistent tags. Was it a breakout setup? Did you get hit with high slippage, where the price you got was way worse than you thought? Or was the behavioral mistake that you oversized your position? You do this for just 20 or 30 trades, and I promise you, these tags will start to tell you a very interesting story. And that story brings us to the weekly review. You start by looking right at the thing that hurts the most. The first question is direct. What really caused your biggest losses? You gotta be ruthless with yourself here. Use your tags. Was it a specific setup, a repeated mistake? Find the real source of the damage. But hey, it's not all about the negative stuff. The second question forces you to look at what's actually working. This isn't about patting yourself on the back. It's about reinforcement. What setups, what conditions, what behaviors led to your best wins? The goal here is to figure out what to do more of, to build real confidence in your actual edge. Question 3. This is where you find your leverage. After looking at the wins and the losses, you put it all together. You look at your biggest mistake tags, and you find the single error you make the most often. Is it moving your stop loss? Is it chasing trades way too late? This is your highest impact area for improvement. And finally, you turn all of that analysis into action. Based on that number one repeated mistake, you create one single, simple rule to enforce for the entire next week. Not 10 rules you're going to forget by Tuesday morning, just one. And this right here is the secret sauce of the whole system. One rule. Focus always beats trying to fix everything at once. You're not trying to become a perfect trader overnight. That's impossible. You're just trying to be 1% better this week by fixing one single thing. That is how real, sustainable change is built. When you zoom out, this entire system is really about shifting your focus. It's about getting away from thinking about random, unpredictable outcomes and onto the one thing you can actually, truly control, your process. And this is just a brilliant way to measure it, the process score. You literally rate every single trade from 0 to 2 based purely on how well you followed your plan. This completely reframes what success is. A winning trade where you broke all your rules? That's a bad trade because it reinforces bad habits. But a losing trade where you followed your plan perfectly? That's a great trade because it builds discipline. So your primary goal isn't necessarily a rising P&L curve this week, it's a rising process score. A 0 is a total emotional, unplanned trade. A 1 means you had a plan but you messed up somewhere. And a 2 is perfect execution. This basically gamifies discipline, and it gives you a clear metric for improvement that is 100% in your control. So to wrap it all up and summarize the entire system, first, it's pre-trade clarity, so you actually have a plan before you enter. Second, it's post-trade truth, where you log the objective facts, not the story you tell yourself. And third, it's the weekly review, where you find one pattern and you fix one thing. That's it. Simple, sustainable, and incredibly powerful. Now, this system gives you the foundation for consistent improvement, but it does leave us with a really interesting question, doesn't it? What if a simple checklist could be the very thing that prevents your number one biggest mistake from ever happening again? We're going to explore that next time. And one final reminder from us, this content is for educational purposes only. It's not a solicitation to trade. Please follow your local regulations, always conduct your own research, and remember that digital assets carry a very high degree of risk. Thanks for tuning in.